Now that's an ocean wonder. I'm Tom, the Blowfish herd.
Ooh, doggy!
The world's only heavy metal marine biologist.
That's so cool! Hello, Joe!
2/3 of this Earth's surface is covered by ocean.
We know more about the surface of the moon
Than we do our own sea floor. And I've made it my life's work to uncover the secrets and mysteries of the ocean.
and now I'm going to share them with you.
In today's show, we have a look at the breathtaking biology that keeps some killer fish at the top of the food chain. Find out about the super-sucking skills of the pipefish. Uncover the simple but effective engineering behind the powerful pinch of a lobster.
Look at those serious crushing claws!
And worms are usually way down the food chain, but this one is anything but fish food. Today's first ocean wonder wouldn't ever win an underwater beauty pageant. But when it comes to keeping our oceans clean, these guys rock.
Now this strange-looking beastie right here is a sea cucumber. They're related to sea urchins, starfish, but they're actually one of the most widespread of their family. You'll find them all over the place. You'll find them hiding under rocks, burrowing into sand, and loose on the seabed. Let's have a look. He really doesn't look like much. And in fact, this guy is just a tiddler. Some sea cucumbers can get to 2 meters in length, and that's a serious beastie. Now, his whole body is supported by water, so he has to pump water into his tissues to stay turgid, as it were. That's why, as I've got him out, he's gone a little bit flat. They may not be particularly impressive, but they play a huge and important role in the oceans. It's thanks to sea cucumbers that the detritus, the rubbish, the crap of the seas gets repurposed, recycled as they chew through the sediments, burrow into sands, and feed on all that slime and filth. As you can see, they're not exactly speedsters, and something like this may be a fairly tasty treat for a predatory fish or crab. I mean, come on, it's the aquatic equivalent of a sausage roll. But the sea cucumber is not defenseless. Should he be attacked, sea cucumbers can evert the inside of their bodies.
They basically explode their guts out of their orifices. Or to give it its scientific name, they eviscerate. Evisceration, or covering a potential predator in your guts, might not sound like a sensible survival strategy, but it works. As well as scaring off their predators and acting as a distraction, some sea cucumbers also expel sticky toxic strings called Cuvarian tubules. They have a high tensile strength and are extremely adhesive, and can both poison and immobilize the predator. They're so effective, even these sub-aqua slow coaches have plenty of time to escape.
That's one hell of a defense mechanism. Personally, I just tell people to back off, not the sea cucumber. Now, this crazy eversion of their innards may seem like a death sentence, but they can regenerate their internal organs. And in fact, studies have shown that some sea cucumbers will bail out their bodies at the end of a year so that they have a fresh start. And that's one hell of a spring clean.
As well as being able to administer their own colonics, the sea cucumber's dexterous derriere has one more incredible ability.
It is where they breathe from. So because they spend a lot of time with their heads in crevices or into thick muds, there's not a lot of oxygen there. But if they keep their bum above the water, as it were, or in this case, the slime, the sludge, the sand, and they breathe from there, it's like a snorkel. It's very, very useful. And when he's extracted as much oxygen as he can from that buttload of water, he can then expel it out and he's ready for a brand new breath. I tell you what, I would not like to get some morning breath from one of these guys. It must be horrendous. You disgusting little so-and-so.
Not everybody is quite as repulsed as me, though. This is a pearlfish. And whilst its name might make you think it's some sort of seabed sophisticate, it finds refuge from its predators somewhere few think to look. That's right. For the pearlfish, safety on the seabed is found right up inside the sea cucumber's bunghole. Talk about being anally retentive. Sea cucumbers might not look up to much, but when it comes to survival strategies, they, and the pearlfish, have got it made. My next ocean wonder might look thin and weedy, but when it comes to the crunch, these toothless terrors have evolved an ingenious way of feeding. This rather odd-looking chap is a pipefish. It's closely related to the seahorse, and in fact, it's essentially a seahorse that someone has straightened out. Seahorses, sea dragons, and pipefish all belong to a family called Cygnathidae. They are characterized by their elongated snouts, fused jaws, undeveloped pelvic fins, and by plates of bony armor covering their bodies. As a result of this protection, they are one of the few fish that aren't strong swimmers. But they are incredible in plenty of other ways. Now, you probably know about seahorses when it comes to the males being the ones that carry the young, and they do this in a special pouch on their belly, and indeed, pipefish will do the same. What you probably don't know is that these animals don't have teeth. Their jaw, that super long snout, is fused together, so there's no way they can chew up their food, and yet these little chaps like to feed on hard, crunchy things, like small crustaceans. So it can be a bit difficult if you want to eat the sweet meats within, if you can't get through the can. Well, they have a secret weapon. That long snout acts as a chamber. So by closing its mouth, shutting its gills, and pulling down on the strong muscles in the base of its throat, a pipefish can create a low-pressure vacuum, so that when it reopens its mouth, whatever it has in its sights is immediately sucked up and liquidized. It's the same as you sucking beans out of a can at arm's length. It goes a little something like this. Sadly, rigging an experiment to suck beans out of a can at arm's length proved way too expensive. So, in true ocean wonder style, we've opted to use a vacuum cleaner and a few bar snacks wrapped in tinfoil to stand in as a small crustacean called a copepod. The perfect way to demonstrate this fragile-looking fish's awesome sucking power. So here we are. Here is my pipefish, complete with trapdoor-like mouth, and here I've got my prey. In this case, it's a copepod. So the first thing we need to do is we need to build up the vacuum in that long tube-like snout. So power, please. There we go, right? We've got the vacuum built up. You can see there, trapdoor nicely shut, and we should liquidate it very quickly. Didn't work. Turn it off. 3, 2, 1, strike! Didn't work. It's a very hardy copepod. And bang! Ah, he's fighting it.
Oh, there we go. It's exploded. Oh, cut it. Aside from the terrible sounds, we have managed to puncture our copepod and his innards are now leaking out. Perfect for the hungry pipefish to guzzle down. It's a delicious meaty soup that seems to be made out of cheesy biscuits. I thought copepods were full of diatoms. I don't know about that.
A look now at an incredible marine reptile whose amazing egg-laying ability takes some beating. The largest of all marine turtles, leatherbacks can grow to over 2 meters in length and weigh the same as 10 fully grown men. True ocean wanderers, they travel over 10,000 miles each year between feeding and nesting grounds. Males live almost their entire lives at sea. But every 2 to 3 years, fertile females somehow navigate back over thousands of miles of ocean to the exact same beaches they were born on. Under cover of darkness, they emerge from the water and haul themselves up the beach to dig their nests. Here, they'll lay up to 100 eggs at a time. And over the next 3 months, they'll return to the same spot again and again, eventually laying up to 1,000 eggs each. Their eggs and the baby turtles are heavily predated. So with as few as 1 in 1,000 hatchlings making it to adulthood, leatherbacks have evolved to lay as many eggs as possible to give their species a fighting chance for survival. It's a huge undertaking. Once completed, the exhausted females return to sea. Here, they'll spend several more years building up their depleted reserves before they return to those same beaches to do it all again. Incredible. Most fish are cold-blooded, but not all of them. My next ocean wonders have all mastered the clever trick of keeping warm in cold seas. Being endothermic, or generating your own heat, is a rare ability few fish possess. Several species of tuna can do it. For example, bluefin elevate their body temperature up to 21 degrees Celsius above the ambient water temperature. And mackerel sharks, like the great white, shortfin mako, and porbeagle, also possess this amazing ability. For fish, generating your own body heat gives you huge advantages. Warm-blooded endothermic fish have the ability to travel huge distances in search of food. And having a raised body temperature also allows them to swim much faster than their cold-blooded cousins, making them excellent hunters. But for me, the real reason hot rods like the bluefin tuna and porbeagle sharks are true ocean wonders is the clever trick they all use to stay warm in cold water. So for the porbeagle shark to stay at the top of the food chain, it has to keep its muscles warm and it has to retain that heat. In the sea, cold water wicks away heat fast. But unlike warm-blooded mammals like whales and seals, who have a thick layer of blubber protecting them from heat loss, endothermic fish are not as well insulated. So how are they staying warm? Well, it's all down to a fancy bit of internal plumbing that channels heat away from the cool outer layers of the fish and retains it in the warm core. Or, as clever scientists call it, a counter-current heat exchange mechanism. In a countercurrent exchange, heat from the arteries that supply the fish's cold outer muscles is transferred into adjacent veins, returning cooled blood into the body's core. The returning cooled blood gets warmed before it enters the hot core, and heat loss is minimized, ensuring our endothermic fish is kept hot to trot. To help explain, I've grabbed a stack of hats to be the fish's heat and roped in a few of the crew to be the fish's blood.
Here we go. Blood, yep, there you go. Oh, he's quite keen on that. Do you want one? Oh, yeah. This is brilliant. So here we can see I'm moving counter to the cold blood returning from the skin. Only this much heat is lost back to the outside, whereas all that is returning to the core, keeping the muscles warm and ensuring the porbeagle stays the winner and not the dinner.
My next ocean wonder is a freaky little fish that spends as much time out of the water as it does in it. This is a mud skipper. Whilst they don't actually skip across the mud, they can crawl pretty quickly. Over 30 species of these bog-eyed beauties live in the intertidal swamps and estuaries of the Indo-Pacific region. They get about fine when the tide's out. It's when it's in that they have a problem. Shallow estuarine water is often low in oxygen. So to ensure they get enough, mud skippers are bimodal breathers. Their gills extract oxygen by gulping water, but incredibly, they also do it by gulping air and by absorbing it through their skin. With these adaptations, these frog-eyed fish can hang topside for up to 2 days at a time. Incredible! Even when the tide comes in, mud skippers ensure a steady supply of oxygen by building chambers inside their burrows where they store gulps of air. This allows them to breathe air from the safety of their holes, even whilst completely submerged. When the tide eventually recedes, a mud skipper's mud patch needs protecting. Their territories are where they feed and breed, so keeping intruders at bay is vital. Erect dorsal fins and mouth gaping are usually the extent of any altercation. By simply raising a dorsal fin, a mud skipper can make its point perfectly. They might look odd, but the mud skipper is an extraordinary animal. Perfectly adapted to live in and out of the water, these feisty fish continue to thrive and survive where many fish fail. The lumbering lobster is undoubtedly the bone-crunching brute of the sea floor. But if we want to appreciate them firsthand, I need to jump back in and join them.
That is a big-ass lobster. Pearls, teeth.
Lobsters can be found from the shallower waters of the shoreline to the depths beyond the continental shelf. These omnivorous beasties feed on literally anything they can get hold of, from shellfish to seaweed. And they can live for decades, growing to enormous sizes. By weight, one species, the red American lobster, is down as the heaviest crustacean on record. Closer to my home in the UK, our blue European lobsters are fractionally smaller, but no less impressive.
Look at those crushing claws. Now if that thing got hold of your fingers, it'd rip them clean off. Those claws work on a very, very simple mechanism. Simple, but deadly. That is a serious, serious beast.
Of the 75 species of lobster living in our oceans, only 35 of them are actually equipped with these impressive pincers. But those that are have one of the most efficiently engineered underwater appendages you could ever imagine. Let me explain.
Here's a fantastic mock-up of our claw here. See, nice big pincers, and when given the chance, bang, snap, crunch. And in the case of a lobster, this would be going through shells, bone, and flesh. It's a serious wrecking machine. So if my fingers were in there right now, it'd make a bit of a mess. We need some stunt fingers. Put that there, and oh dear. Yeah, that's gonna chafe come winter. But while the claw may have all that power to crush and smash on the way down, it has almost no power to resist being held shut. In fact, even a large lobster claw like this in real life, I could hold close with my two little fingers, just like that. So, what's going on? Well, sorry, buddy. Let's turn around and have a look. This is a basic representation of the way the muscles are arranged inside the claw of a lobster, or indeed any crustacean. In reality, all this area in here would be packed full of muscle, whose only job it is to close that claw. And I've represented that with this big, thick clump of red elastic bands. But for opening the claw, there'd only be a very tiny muscle round about here. You can see that, just got this really weak blue elastic band. Now, why is it not just evenly spaced out? Well, in the ocean, the lobster doesn't gain anything by opening its claw. It doesn't need to do it quickly, it doesn't need to do it with any great power, it just needs to make sure that at some point it's open so it can use all that investment in all that big, meaty muscle to snap down and break whatever is stuck in its face. So there we are, the lobster claw. A very clever bit of engineering and a very economical bit of evolution. Cracking. Oh, actually, forgot a thing. This is such a dangerous weapon, capable of, like I say, tearing apart sharks or cracking open other shelled animals, that you would be well within your rights to think that when two lobsters meet and fight, it gets pretty messy pretty quickly. But the thing is, lobsters know how much damage they can do with their claws. So when they do come to fight, they settle it without coming to arms. Because when lobsters fight each other, they square up, face to face, claws back, and we in each other's faces.
Lowly worms are usually near the bottom of the food chain. But my next ocean wonder, or should I say ocean nightmare, is about as far from fish food as you can get. Let me tell you a story. A little ocean horror story. Let me introduce to you the bobbit worm. This creature is a polychaete worm, and most polychaete worms you find in the seas are relatively small, and they're found scruttling around in the silt and sediments, looking for odd scraps of meat to scavenge on, or maybe little bits of algae for a cheeky nibble. As you can see, they're small and vulnerable, the perfect piece of protein for any passing fish. Not the bobbit worm. This guy can grow to well over 1 meter in length. In fact, the largest ever found was 3 meters long. They live in the soft sand and shingle around the edge of coral reefs, where they sit in long burrows with just their head poking out on the top of the sand, and they wait for prey to come by. They are ambush assassins. Its massive bear trap-like jaws slam shut on their prey, often bisecting it then and there. anything that doesn't get immediately eviscerated is grabbed, pulled down into the burrow, and then, for good measure, injected with a paralyzing venom that also helps digest them and makes it easier for the worm to finish them off. Thankfully, bobbit worms are found in the tropical ocean well away from us, but occasionally, ever so occasionally, they turn up in our fish tanks. So, if you've got a tank at home, sleep well, dear viewer. Sleep well.